So Liverpool have won the Carabao Cup, they've secured passage to the FA Cup quarter-finals, and now it's back to Premier League action this weekend with a trip to Nottingham Forest. And of course this is the big one, isn't it really, the Premier League? I'd say out of all the trophies this season that maybe this is the one that Liverpool fans would want the most. And of course they've only got a 1-point lead in the Premier League title race, and they go up against a Forest side who are absolutely fighting for their lives. They know that maybe there's a points deduction coming down the line as well, so they don't really know how many points they'll maybe need to avoid relegation, so they need every point they can get on board. And so this is maybe not going to be an absolutely easy one for Liverpool, despite Nottingham Forest's difficult position that they find themselves in. And so interesting to hear from Jurgen Klopp here at the AXA Training Centre, which you can see just behind me. We've had his press conference here today to hear from him ahead of this match, and I think I'll start with the most important news, the one that fans are most interested in really, and that is of course the team news going into this one. Now I'll start with some good news, the upside of what Jurgen Klopp had to say, and that was that Dominik SZOBOSZLAI and Darwin Nunez were back in training yesterday. Of course both had muscle complaints, and unfortunately they've been back in training yesterday. He said, you know, Liverpool will have to assess them today, see what the reaction was like to that, but every indication is if they were in training yesterday, should be able to train today, and if that's the case then they will be in contention to face Nottingham Forest. Now because the muscle injuries, I would say, you know, maybe both won't be in the starting 11, but it'd be a huge boost, wouldn't it, to have both of them in the squad. Great options to bring off the bench, and also, you know, with so many games coming thick and fast, you need these squad options back as soon as possible, because Liverpool's squad is being tested to its absolute limit. They've come through a lot of those tests recently, you know, a lot thanks to the kids that they've been able to bring in, but you know, you wonder how long that can last. So to get back some real genuine first team stars, I think will be a real boost. And there's a couple more coming back as well. Wataru, Endo got a kick in that Carabao Cup final and missed the cup tie against Southampton as a result, and Andy Robertson, he was out with illness in midweek against Southampton. He is back, and Wataru, Endo both back, should be available for this one. They're back in training today, so again, you know, that's 4 players coming back into the squad, and things will start to look a little bit healthier for Liverpool, I think, squad wise, if not in terms of maybe the starting 11. Now unfortunately was some bad news in there, talking about Mo Salah. He is not going to be available to face Nottingham Forest, unfortunately. He's still out. The good news on that front is that Klopp's expectation was that he would be maybe back in training next week, and of course if that's the case then he can be back for maybe a sub appearance against Sparta Prague in the Europa League. That would be a great run out, and then, you know, if Liverpool could get him in the starting 11 for that Manchester City game, he is the best player, isn't he? He's so important, so it would be great to have him back for what could be an absolutely decisive game in the Premier League title race. So fingers crossed on that front, but no Mohamed Salah against Nottingham Forest, which of course is a blow. I mean, it shows you really that he, you know, it was initially said that he had some tiredness, some fatigue in his muscle, but very much looks with the amount of games that he's missed, that it was a re-injury sustained at Brentford, which is you know, Liverpool have had a few of those recently, haven't they? So very unfortunate on that front. Now a couple of other talking points really to round up the press conference. Now Jurgen Klopp inevitably was asked about the quadruple. I mean, you'd expect him to be asked about this in a week where Liverpool you know, they win the Carabao Cup, they secure passage in the FA Cup, that, you know, all 4 trophies are still on, obviously the Premier League and the Europa League being the other ones. So, you know, a lot of fans, a lot of journalists are talking about this quadruple as a possibility. So are Jurgen Klopp and his squad thinking about it? Is it something they're talking about, keeping this quadruple run going? And you won't be surprised to know that Jurgen Klopp actually answered in the negative on that front. He actually said, we don't think for a second about 4 trophies, we just try and find a solution for the next game. And of course, finding a solution for the next game from game to game has been really difficult recently with all the injuries Liverpool are having to contend with. So not really, I would say, a massive surprise that he's focusing on game to game, but interesting to hear him say it in person anyway today. And other talking points from the press conference, Jurgen Klopp warning about Nottingham Forest's threat. Now he said, of course, they've only won 6 games all season. They're in a terrible position really, and that 6 games all competitions had a look, and as I say, they're in a really, really poor position. They're fighting for their lives in the Premier League, but you know, Jurgen Klopp showing them all the respect that you need to, really. He said, you know, the Nottingham Forest can be a threat. I mean, Liverpool lost at this ground last season 1-0 with Taiwo Awoniyi scoring the goal, you'll remember. So, you know, Jurgen Klopp knows that this Forest side can beat Liverpool if Liverpool have a bad day and Forest have a good one. So, very wary of that. He spoke about the fact that Nottingham Forest are electric on the counter as well, can really threaten in that way, and singled out Callum Hudson-Odoi for praise as well, and the danger that he poses. And he's right to say about the counter threat, I think, because Nuno Espirito Santo, I think when Jurgen Klopp's come up against him, his teams have always tended to give Liverpool a game, always shown that threat on the counter. So that is something that Jurgen Klopp is clearly concerned about, and something he'll be prepping his team to be ready for, because if they take the foot off the gas slightly in this one, then Nottingham Forest can absolutely cause them trouble. So maybe a tough game coming up for Liverpool. What do you think? How do you see this one going? How do you think Liverpool is shaping up for this one? Good to have some players back from injury, but not Mohamed Salah, unfortunately. Still quite a lot on the sidelines at the moment. So how do you think this one's going to go? Let me know what you think in the comments. Always great to hear your thoughts. And as ever, if you can like and subscribe, always massively helpful for getting my YouTube channel out there. And of course, I'll be back on for a review of this game, and hopefully we'll be discussing another Liverpool win.